Wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. AK-47s, Mac 11, Glocks and 9s. Yo, what the hell be wrong with some of these dudes, man? Some of them just love violence a little too much, and that's why some of them got themselves in very sticky situations. But when it's involving someone's life being taken out, that's on a whole different level and playing field. But unfortunately, these guys found themselves exactly in those situations. David, if guilty was a person, I swear it would be written all over this dude's face, allegedly, because with all the evidence that's been out, he still hasn't been arrested yet. David is being accused of killing his alleged ex-girlfriend Celeste, whose body was found in his car while he was on tour. The car was parked in front of his house for days before eventually getting towed to the impound lot, where the workers kept on smelling a very strong odor, and when they opened the car, they found her body. And how things is looking so far, it ain't looking good for David, y'all. It also doesn't help the fact that this dude somewhat does some devil worshipping and was even bringing a casket to his damn concert so fans can write letters to their loved gone ones. Just a very, very off behavior. Him and the girl also had matching tattoos that said shh on their fingers. Was it because she was underage and they had to keep things a secret? Who knows? So even though he denies dating her, he has a song named after her, Celeste. So all the evidence is pointing in David's direction, allegedly, because once again he's still a free man walking and hasn't been charged with anything, as the cops have a close watch on him. This case is very early, but I think he sees the writing on the wall as he already canceled the rest of his tour to deal with the situation. So let's stay tuned, folks. YNW Melly, currently still sitting in prison and charged for the alleged murder of his two friends. He has been locked up since February 2019 and the case is still going on? Damn son, get it over with. But they keep on delaying it and pushing back the date. If he is convicted, he's gonna get life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. The death penalty? Oh lord. But homie did a very brutal murder to his friends, allegedly. But now it seems like he's cooked for real because his co-defendant YNW Bortland just accepted a plea deal to avoid trial. YNW Bortland was facing life in prison, but he negotiated a plea deal to avoid that. So he's only going to be serving 10 years in prison, which he's already done 4. So he will be out in about 6 years. So you know what that means. That man is snitching on Melly, which is going to make Melly's case even harder now. But let's see how things unfold. G-Dep, Mr. Get This Money himself had confessed to taking a man's life. So this situation is very different from the others because they were caught. But back in 2010, he had turned himself in for an unsolved murder that he committed back in 1993. Damn, that was that long ago. So homie was out the clear and the police was never able to solve the case, a cold case. So he was gonna be going free. But his inner guilty conscience was eating him up alive, so bad that he turned himself in. Wow, I can only imagine the nightmares, the regrets, the karma, just everything was eating him up inside and his soul couldn't settle or be at peace. So in December 2010, he walked into the police precinct himself and confessed what he had did, which he said he popped a guy during a robbery. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison in 2012 and in April 2024, he was finally released from prison, feeling the weight off his shoulders, feeling like a free man internally and mentally. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do for your own mental peace. The baby, he definitely loves to brag about this any chance he gets. But back in 2018, he had popped a man in Walmart, which the man ended up passing away. And according to the baby story, he said that he was randomly shopping in Walmart with his kid and baby mama when he said 2 dudes just walked up on him picking a fight and he had to defend himself. Well, Rolling Stone magazine decided to do its own research and uncover some information the baby did not state. What he didn't say was that a fight had broke out earlier between them. So this was just a follow-up fight from earlier that happened. So these weren't random guys like he claimed. But in the video, you clearly see them arguing and then the baby is the one that throws the first punch and him and the dude start wrestling. And then the dude, the victim's friend in the back, is acting like he's trying to break up the fight. But he pulls out a gun and then tucks it back in his pants quick before joining in on the fight. But he keeps on reaching in his pants and the baby sees it happening. So he had no choice but to shoot him. It's clear to see it was self-defense from the guy in the black that pulled out a weapon on him. So baby had to finish the job, and because of this, it has helped his reputation as a theater rapper, which he loves, but you gotta protect your neck, man. Superstar Pride, and Mama, Don't Worry, You Raise the Gangster. Oh, yo, I love that song. And I didn't know this murderer was the one responsible for it. But back in July 2023, he was charged with first degree for the death of his own barber. Was the haircut that bad? God damn. But according to investigation reports and the victim's grandmother who saw the whole incident happen, she says Superstar Pride ran inside the house with the gun and chased her grandson out of the house shooting at him. And when he was done, he even popped him one time in the head. Lord Jesus. This sounds like it was over some drug money or something to go to this extreme on your barber. Currently still in prison awaiting his trial, so he has not been sentenced yet and is still waiting on his fate. Cassidy. Back in 2005, he was charged with third degree of taking someone out. Cassidy was facing life in prison and was even offered a plea deal to snitch on his friends to get out, and the man said no and declined the deal. You can call that being an honorable nigga or being a real nigga, but he took it to trial and was able to get the charge beat down to involuntary manslaughter. Cassidy with some of his boys had fired at a van, which resulted in the death of Desmond Hawkins. So after he was charged and sentenced to 11 to 23 months in prison, he only served 8 months but was already locked up for 7 months with time served. Snoop Dogg. For some reason, I used to think that he took someone's life out when he was facing a murder charge and involuntary manslaughter for the death of a rival gang member. But Snoop wasn't the one that did it. His bodyguard did, and Snoop was the driver. But he was eventually acquitted of murder and got to live his long-lasting career. Man oh man, somehow these guys find themselves in some very dumb situations, and most of the time they're the cause of it. But lucky for some of them, they were able to keep out of prison while others have to face their consequences. But the case surrounding David is very interesting, as a lot of evidence may seem like he may be associated with the death of the girl in the car. But recent reports have came out saying that the police have confirmed he is not a suspect. So this is getting more interesting by the day, but it's still very early to say. But let's keep paying attention, man, because this is all weird. But yeah, man, thanks for watching the video. I'm gonna catch you on the next one.